Here's what it is. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And how are you going to get there?
So owning your future, let's go with a definition first. What does that mean to you?
It's choice. I think, owning your future is you choosing what it looks like, charting a path and going towards it, and then really facing the truths of what it looks like. As a financial advisor, this is a beautiful thing that we have the pleasure of doing on a regular basis. Every single month, somebody is moving on to their next chapter. Every single month, somebody is, transitioning. Transitions are hard. Changes are hard. But it's a choice and a definitive movement towards the goal that you have. Most people avoid it until it happens. So when you talk about owning your future, it's really about owning the choice, not being forced upon to make a decision because you didn't think through the processes of when this would happen. Think of someone that's aging and, we're 68 years old and all of a sudden our spouse gets sick and they're retired. And you no longer view your job and career as something that you want to put your energy and time into because the world just got a lot smaller. It's certainly great to have had a charted course to own the future. Whatever it is that you're doing, whatever it is your business is, whatever it is that you do as a career, instead of having something or someone else control your destiny. That's really what owning your future is all about.
It's interesting that you go to school for however many years, you plan for X, Y, and Z, and you're running toward the goal of retirement or whatever that next step is, and then there's such little thought right into the actual getting.
What do you do?
Yeah,
oh, you mean getting there, or actually what do you do when you get there?
Right, and actually you see it, right? So isn't that interesting how it's retirement, sunset, paradise, or whatever, and then there's really not that much thought or forethought into the actual part that is after.
Yeah.
That's the truth, right?
Almost zero. I mean, so taking stock is a reference towards our industry and advisor speak in general, but here's what it is. Where are you now? Where do you want to be? And how are you going to get there? Taking stock is evaluating and consolidating all of the things in your life that you'd like to add more time to, more love to, and not less. What happens when you take stock a lot of times is people want to retire. If you work for the government, the city, you're a teacher, you're a cop, whatever it is, and you have a pension, military, you work towards a certain goal and then you're like, once I get there, I got it, I'm done. But most people get there and they're 50 and they've got a huge life ahead of them. And so now you're struggling. It's like having kids, another taking stock, right? I know that I have a teenage son and one that's almost a teenager, and I can tell you that time is very small before they're out. If I wait until they're out to actually decide what I'm going to do with the extra time, no longer Uber driving to all the practices, I have to decide ahead of time and really inventory what are some of the things I want to do. It's okay to think about that stuff. So you don't end up walking into someone's office, sitting across from them with your spouse and going, I can't wait to retire to the country. And the spouse looks at you and says, we have grandchildren, we're not leaving. And you're nowhere near on the same page. And it's no different for your career. I was sitting with a long time, I think a 40-year financial advisor, highly successful, one of the top producers that I know, just unbelievably successful. And we're riding in a car, and I just asked him, he was talking to me about how he really doesn't know what to do when he stops. And I just asked him a simple question. Have you asked your wife what she wants to do? Or what she wants you to do? Or what she sees you doing more of? And he was like, no, I've never asked her that question. And, it was a very, very humbling experience for him because it's such a simple question, but he was enamored that something so simple could yield such a result. And I think we all get there. I mean, we all have moments in our lives where we just have to take stock and identify what that looks like, decide on the path, and really, lay it out. That has nothing to do with being a financial advisor. Owning Your Future in the book talks about owning your future, period. But it really breaks down owning your future as a financial advisor. It's probably the most specific part of the book that's geared more towards advisors. But the lessons are for any business owner or for anyone that's looking for that next chapter.
So let's talk about that next stage. Once you've figured out, I talked to my spouse and we're going to run off to an island and never come back, or we're going to get jobs as Uber drivers because we are done with the other Uber driver of our past. I thought that was really funny. But what is that next stage, and how do we make that a reality?
So the hardest part of getting to the next stage is actually doing it. Everybody wants to just try it. I say this all the time. Nike didn't make their slogan, just try it. The tagline is just do it. And so the key is, once you do it, there's this permanence. There's this feeling like it's over and this part of your life is gone. And it's not. It's just new. It's a transition. Part of it is letting go of the past experiences, the past days, the past who you ate lunch with every day and where you ate lunch and what restaurants you went to. It's letting go of that part of your life and building a new one. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't build upon some of those habits, but if you don't build some new habits and new expectations and new objectives and goals, you're probably going to feel really empty, like you missed something. One of the biggest challenges we have in the advisor world is when someone is going to transition out, if they don't let go of what it was, then it can't be as great as it's going to be. And see, we need you to be a hero on the way out so that we can be a hero on the way in, and that's part of the recipe for success, but that's the recipe for success for anyone. I can't tell you how many mother-daughters, father-sons, uncle, nephew, whatever the family member is, they're talking about transitioning the business to their next generation. And the challenge is 2 or 3 big things. Number one, person A that built the business can't let go and can't let the other person have their own failures. We know this as parents, right? We don't want our kids to go through the same things we did, so sometimes we helicopter them. I helicopter a lot less than maybe some of you, but I still helicopter more than my dad and mom did me, right? So one thing is letting go in general and letting someone else make some of the decisions. Let it look and feel a little different. It has to. It can't be yours. It's not yours anymore when you actually move on. Number 2 is the other person identifying, especially when it's family, that you are not mom, dad, uncle, aunt. You are boss, and they are learning, and they don't know everything that you know. And so part of your goal is to help them get all this data that you've spent a career earning and growing and learning. Again, this is not just for advisors, this is parents, right? Talking to our kids and them not listening, and then having an uncle or aunt say the exact same thing you're saying. And they're like, it's amazing. Did you know what Stephanie said to Carson the other day? And he just got it. He loves it. That is our lives, right? Same thing. So it's for the other person to help understand that there's a lot still to learn, and there's some background and some failures you might want to understand before you just tap some new ideas and a new brand on something. And last is to understand it's different. It's difficult. It's a little bit of a closing moment in your life. Whenever you change jobs, whenever you step into a new chapter, whenever you do something that's uniquely different, it's a transition. Transitions are not easy. They're not called transitions to be simple. When we transition someone's business, we always say it's imperfect. It's not perfect. They're like, yeah, but you have it dialed in, and it sounds like your process and your system is perfect. And I say, there's no such thing as perfect. There's going to be a new dynamic to this transition, and you're going to feel really uncomfortable. and will feel uncomfortable with you at times. And there will be uncomfortable moments at times, but we'll work through it. Like father and son or mother and daughter in a business, you got to let go. You have to let go to what it was to help let it become what it's meant to be. And in order for a business, a child, anything we're raising to become the next best thing they can become, there's got to be a little bit of that let go. There's got to be a little bit of that separation. Any parent that sends their kid off to college has got to feel that. I don't know yet, but I'm not far.
It's hard. Okay, so when this works, right, when you have a business owner, a person who's retiring, who has taken stock, has recognized the next stage is here, whether you want it to be or not, and has let go, how sweet can it be on the other side of that? How great can it be?
Well, I can sit on this side of the desk and I can tell you how to coach somebody to do it. I know the things, the pitfalls. I know how to help individuals with personalities and how to team up the right teams. And I know how to consult with these groups and organizations to develop more successful transitions. I have not been at that stage where I am separating and letting go. So I'm humbly telling you that I empathize in only the way that I felt it from this seat. But it's very, very challenging for anyone. And I've seen how challenging it is for even people that are ready. But when it works, you feel freedom. The book is called Freedom Street. The message is about Freedom Street. It's walking down a path of freedom. You can't feel free if you have all these things that are holding you back. And that goes to life. You can't feel free if your relationships aren't balanced and in good position. You can't feel free if you're still holding on where your give a shit factor is 1,000% on every single item in the business. It can't be. You have to let it go at some point in time, or it will never be what it's going to become. And most people feel this sense of freedom once they've actually committed. You know, committing is a very strong word. When you commit in life to your spouse, when you commit to a career, when you commit to be a father or a mother, it's a lifetime. When you commit to your spirituality, your church, whatever it is, it's a lifetime. And it's strong. But you've committed to this career doesn't mean that you've given up everything that you were. It just means that now you have the freedom to pursue other thoughts, other things, more time with grandchildren, more time learning a new path, but stay fresh. It doesn't hurt to start planning early. I highly recommend for people to plan early. Think through. It'll change. It should change. It's no problem. Just last night, my son asked me if I was going to buy a home in Florida. And I was like, what kind of question is that? Why are you asking me that? He goes, don't you and mom want to spend more time in Florida when you retire? And I said, yes, we do. We definitely like it warm. He's already thinking past where I've thought in that moment, and he brought me right back to what I believe in. It's something we all have to remind ourselves every day. Not just because it's in a book will I remember it every day.